Cool. All right, we are now recording the YouTube video. So as always, first 20 minutes are going to be analysis, and the last 5, 10, 15 minutes maybe will be Q&A. Right, so what are we looking at today? Today we're looking at price making a new all-time high. So the very interesting thing with all-time highs is there's no previous data to go off of to the upside, because this is our all-time high. This is the highest price it's ever been. So there's nothing here, and there's nothing all the way up here, because this is literally the highest price it's ever been. So what do we do when we're looking at this? We have to look at levels for the downside, right? So we also have to set clear targets. So if you're trading above this, you have to say, okay, I'm targeting 10 points, I'm targeting 20 points. You have to set clear targets because the levels will not be able to be your target. So usually you'll be able to target a level right here. So let's say even this level, you have this level right here, you take a trade right here, bam, for whatever reason, and then you target this level. But you can't target any levels because there's no levels above this, because it's the highest ever price it's ever been, hence the word all-time high. So we have to pay attention to these. We're going to pay attention to this opening gap right here, opening gap, right? And then we're just going to see what price is going to do in reaction to this news at 9:45, so in 6 minutes, right? So we're just going to watch it. And we're not going to rush into anything. We're not going to take any trades that aren't there. We're just going to watch price and see what it's going to do. All right, so usually, and we've talked about this before, and I've had a crazy call on this before. Usually what news will do, 2 moves, like this. All right, so 1 move in one direction, so like this. Next move in the other direction. And this is not always the direction, sometimes it's this way. But that's usually what news does, 2 big moves. So 1 move down, 1 move up, or 1 move down, 1 move up, 1 move down, right? So up, down, or down. So that's usually how it plays out, just because there's so much volatility, there's so much volume coming in. And it usually does that kind of weird up-down move before it picks an actual side to go to. So we're going to watch that. Forexfactory.com. If you don't use this, you're missing out. You need to use forexfactory.com. It's completely free. You don't even have to sign in and give them any information. You just pull up forexfactory.com. And you'll see we have PMI at 9:45. So let's see what's going on. Definitely getting some more volume right now than we have been getting these past few mornings. Opening gap right here, so this is the gap between where price closed, where price opened, opening gap. So just watch on the 15 minute, we're on the 15-minute time frame right now. We're just going to watch to see how price reacts to this opening gap and how price reacts to news. This is also an opening gap, but I don't think it's very relevant anymore. Yeah, no, we'll take that out. Here's the interesting thing is, like, technically we didn't break below this, although I just don't think it's really relevant anymore. But like on the 1 hour, we're still kind of, because there's no candle closures below it, you know what I mean? But it's like this gap is going to be more relevant. But what we could do is we could still find, it's just some sort of level right here. So we can say, okay, where did price have a large reaction? So right here, definitely go down to the 15 minute. This low, definitely adapt this level to this low. My magnet tool is not magneting. I have OCD, I'm so sorry guys. This has to be exactly where this is. Alright, there we go. Cool. So what's another level that price had a lot of reactions off of? You know what we can do is we can actually turn this into a zone, just because price had a bunch of bounces right here. So we can do right here to wherever this final candle was. A lot of liquidity there, because we come up, bounce once, bounce twice, bounce 3 times. All right, so lows are always areas of liquidity, so are highs, so are opens. We have the New York open marked out right here. We did have a little reaction off of it. Very, very hard. This is a very hard trade to take. I would not have taken that trade just because it's all-time high. I wouldn't be trying to go against the trend. Some people do that. That's not really my style of trading. Some people like to fade the trends. I don't like to fade the trends. Trends are my friends. I say that a lot of time. Trends are your friend. We're just watching right now. So we have 2 minutes until this news. So the news could affect price a lot. Likely will. Gonna check the chat real quick, make sure everybody's doing well. These videos. Just watching these videos and being in this community you created, RP, my subconscious is really soaking it in and starting to click more and more every day. I love hearing that. I love to hear that, bro. That's a big part of it because so much of this is just letting it all kind of sit in, letting it all click. Because immediately you're watching, you're like, this is so confusing, right? I mean, with anything trading, unless you're trading before. And then when it all starts, it slowly starts to click and you just kind of start to understand things. You start to see what I'm saying and all that good stuff. Cool. So let's watch one more minute till this news event. Yep. Right now. Watch right here. So see, we'll either get that 2 move set up where it's 1 move up, 1 move down, or 1 move down, 1 move up, or we will just completely follow trend and either just shoot down or shoot up. So this is a strong area of liquidity, so we could bounce here. And remember, this is news. This is risky, right? Like, can you trade during news? Yes, but accept the risk, understand the risk, identify your risk. Let's get another 5 minutes, see what's going on over here. Opening gap, by the way, just in case you didn't catch that. Where price closed, where price opened, opening gap. A lot of liquidity here, came down, bounced right there, perfect trade up to there. So just watch, see what this is gonna go. And if you are unfamiliar with what I'm trading, I'm looking at ES futures, right? So this is different than S&P 500. This is ES futures. This is different than SPY. I'm trading futures contracts. So just understand that. Understand what I'm looking at versus what you might be looking at. So let's see what happens right here. If we don't close below this, we will likely bounce. If we do come close in this, we'll likely fall through. But if we stay above this and we don't close below it, we'll likely bounce and then come and target something around here or here and then potentially make new all-time highs. But that's only if we close above this. If we close in this zone, candle closure in this zone, I do not think we will bounce. 15 minutes is a better indicator of that, so we'll look at the 15 minute. And this would be a hard trade to take. Like, I mean, just for educational purposes, like how would you take this trade? I would be wanting to see a candle closure above, or below, below this New York open. But that's so interesting because this candle didn't quite close above it. So I'd want to like say, okay, we're going to close above this. So like right here, you could take that, target this. Risky because it's just all-time high, but you could take that. Like I'm sure somebody did take that trade and they made money. But it's just not really my style of trade. It's a little too long of a trade. I like to be in trades for 5-10 minutes. But if it works for you, it works for you. Right? So there's Nothing at all wrong with that. All right, so we're selling off a lot right now. We are selling off. I mean, there's not much there to find setup-wise. Like, that's just a big sell-off. Unless you're already in that trade. But let's see what we do here. This is an important gap. Remember, candle closure below this zone, I expect us to go down. If we candle close above, expect us to go up. But when we're hanging around in these zones, I don't like doing too much when we're in these zones. I like to see something close up or just candle close and move down. You have to almost look at the zones as like magnets. Like sometimes, it's actually a really interesting thought exercise. Sometimes magnets, if you have two magnets and the opposite sides are facing each other, they'll go like this. Like, you know when you were a kid and you would play with the magnets at school and go like that? They'd like bounce off each other. Maybe that was just me. But sometimes the magnets will like draw one to one another. Sometimes the magnet will go, okay, it's going to come down. It's going to go right here. Or sometimes it'll just bounce up. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like sometimes it'll just go to it. Sometimes it'll just bounce up. And the reason that happens is because there's a lot of orders. Sometimes the orders will get filled. Sometimes the buy orders will get filled. Sometimes the sell orders will get filled, giving it kind of like a magnetic like effect almost. All right, we are selling off right now. So watch right here. Watch right here. I want to see what happens right here. These are three big sell candles. So can we come down more? Yes, absolutely. But can we see a little bit of relief in terms of buying pressure before we come down? Possibly. But let's just watch. Jeez. A lot of sellers. It's like a 30-point move just to the downside. I did actually say in the game plan, you can go check the game plan, that below this level, expect us to move down. Right? So game plan is always valuable. Jeez. Yeah, we're selling off a ton. I took a trade off the game plan. How'd it go? People are talking about what they journal on. That's great. Great stuff. Made my first $1,000 yesterday. I love to hear that, man. I remember my first $1,000 day. 400 nugget. I love that. Quick $400. See, that's a ton of money. It's like you get desensitized to money when you're trading, and I think some of you probably understand this. Like when you're trading, you'll see money go up and down, so like you'll forget the value of it almost. But like think of that exercise is if you're in a trade, or if I just walked up to you and I said, here's $500. You can either maybe have a 10% chance at $600, or you can take this $500 right now. Right? That's what trading is. But so many people take these extra risks they don't need to take, and they should have just take the money. Take the money. Go pay for shit. Because that's what money is used for. To make your life easier. Less problems in your life. Right? Less problems surrounding money. There won't be less like problems around other stuff. Trust me, I promise you that. But there will be less money problems. So people are like, does money buy happiness? You can buy a lot of things with money that will make you very happy, right? But is it going to solve your problems that have nothing to do with money? Probably not, right? But it's going to solve your problems that have stuff to do with money. So it's going to solve your ability to have to listen to people you don't like that's really nice. You don't have to listen to anybody. You don't have to do shit that you don't want to do in terms of like work and like dealing with your boss. You'll have a lot of freedom, but it's probably not going to solve a lot of your not mental problems, but your mental health things or things that are going on in that regard. It's probably not going to solve a lot of that, But it'll give you the tools and give you the freedom needed to eventually solve that, right? And some people can find that freedom and that peace without money, right? So it's not like an end-all be-all, but it's just, me personally, that's how I view it. It's just, okay, it's a tool to improve my life and to improve the lives of the people I love. So value it, is what I'm saying. Value it. Don't disrespect it. Don't get greedy with it. There are so many sellers coming in right now. This is, whew. Could even come down to target here. Target this level. This low. Anybody who got in shorts off of that is making a fuck ton of money. I would not be, this is not financial advice, but taking profits right here would not be a bad idea if you are in shorts. Because that's a 20-point move. I mean, that's just fucking big move. I don't even target, I usually target like between 10 to 15-point moves. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but so this is what volume looks like. A few of the other streams we did not have much volume. This is what volume looks like. Sometimes it's very clean and you want to trade it. If we got a little bounce right here, I'd be like, oh, I love that. But don't love what we're seeing right now in terms of A+ setups. Although that candle closure below this level could be nice, or could have been nice. Target this, or you could target that. We keep selling off, but let's just watch right here because we had a bunch of sellers. So I would not be surprised if we get some sort of bounce right here. And there's some liquidity right here, so just watch right here. Before market news caused big sell-offs. Yes, definitely. Yeah, price has have so many weird reactions. And also another interesting thing is a lot of times price won't actually move up because of good news or down because of bad news. It's like very like counterintuitive. It's just very random. So that's why it's kind of confusing sometimes because people will see that we had great news like and then the price moves down and everybody's like, what the fuck? Or vice versa. They'll be like terrible news. This is so weird. There was like this like event, like I'm trying to remember the exact. It was during some of the conflicts. I'm not going to go like all deep into that right now, but it was during some of these global situations, and I was like watching the market like crazy because I was just like, this is so going to affect the market. This is going to be terrible. It was a bad thing. It was not good news at all, and nobody would agree that everybody would agree that it was not good news. People just looked at that like that's not good, but the market actually went up a ton. And everybody was like, what the fuck? And it's just like these like things you want to understand. Like these things that, not you want to understand, but these things that won't necessarily make sense when you look at it on the surface. But then you look under, you're like, okay, maybe the cause and effect of this relates to this in that way. You know what I mean? So it's like some unseen factor that is at hand that's influencing price that may not be the news headline. So that's usually what it is because the news headline is like usually after the market's moved. And sometimes it's usually after. Because the market usually moves and then the news comes out just because people have such fast access to information on Wall Street. But it's very interesting dynamic. Very, very interesting dynamic. Now in profit, 2 losses. I love to hear that. Good morning, boy. Good morning, everybody. So let's see if we get a little bit of bounce here. Because like I usually expect us to get a bounce when we get these huge sell-offs, but I never know. Be off this liquidity. This isn't like clean liquidity at all. This is clean liquidity. That's clean liquidity. This is like, This was that opening gap that we had before. Or a little below it, but a little below that opening gap. Stream's going great, brother. I love doing the streams. Let me know, actually, y'all, if you want me to start doing more, like, random streams. Like, just me, like, living, like, a day in my life and, like, me, like, just talking to y'all about trading and mindset and health and all that stuff, let me know if you want me to do that, because I would love to. I would love to do that. I really enjoy streaming. Hell yeah, do it. Bet. We'll do that. I'm so down. All right, we're doing it. We're doing it. Do some gaming. Stream on the jet ski. I will. I actually will. That would be funny. Yeah, no, we'll definitely get some good content going, good fun stuff. Because, I mean, it's like, because sometimes you have to like look at like why you do things. Like, why are we all trading, right? We all want to make money. We all want to live life on our own terms. One of the reasons you're here is you might just find the markets interesting, but the reason people invest, the reason people trade, the reason people start businesses is because they want to live life on their own terms, right? So me personally, and if you disagree with this is totally good. This is just me. When I was first starting out, when I was working a job, I would get so motivated by seeing other people make money, especially like young people making money, starting their own businesses, like driving fast cars, buying stuff. I'd be like, this is awesome, because if they can do it, then I can. So that was my mindset. That's always been my mindset. I've never, ever, ever looked at something and said, oh, they're doing that. I can't do that. They're bad. They must be cheating. They rented that Lambo or whatever. No, I never think that. Those thoughts don't even come to my mind. I go, that's awesome, right? Like, did I get a little mad sometimes? I was like, I don't have that, right? But it wasn't, I used the anger to fuel me. I didn't use the anger to take them down. I just used it to fuel myself up, right? Because there's energy in this world. So you can either use the energy to say, oh, he's flexing, I don't like that. Or you can say, you know what? He just bought a $250,000 car at age 23 or whatever, and that means I can do it. So that was always so motivating for me, seeing people live their lives. So I loved watching the trading stuff, but I watched a ton of mindset stuff. I watched a ton of motivational stuff. I would literally just watch people like go into dealerships and buy cars, like on YouTube. I know it sounds weird, but I would literally watch people like, you ever seen the video like buying my dream car at 19, 20, 25? I would watch those videos, right? Because you have to understand why you're doing this. And sometimes it can get a little hard because you're looking at charts and you're like, fuck, this is really hard. But when you have that image of what you could get, what you can achieve with this skill, you're like, shit, this is worth it, right? So speaking of that bounce, we did actually get that bounce we were talking about, because a ton of sellers coming off, or a ton of sellers, and we expected the selling pressure to cool off a little bit and the buyers to come in, and we are still respecting this zone right here. So we haven't closed under this yet. It looks like we did, but we didn't close. We just came under this zone. I'm glad y'all relate to me. I love it. Good. Some of y'all say such funny stuff in the comments, and believe me, like I got a sense of humor. Just like, I can't be like saying some of that out loud on YouTube, but y'all are funny, man. Y'all are funny. But yeah, I mean, it's like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and if I didn't know there was a light at the end of the tunnel, it would have been a lot harder for me to do this. The reason I was able to do this is because I saw what my life could be like once I mastered this skill. I literally saw it like clear as day. Like I would wake up every single morning and just look at things I couldn't afford. I would literally look at this penthouse, look at this car every single morning, and people would be like, oh, why are you looking at that? People would be like, oh, but you have to see it in your mind. Your mind has to understand that you can achieve it, because then your mind will find a way to achieve it. If your mind doesn't believe you can achieve it, you're fucked, right? So fix yourself and get yourself into a place where you're saying, okay, I can achieve this goal. I can get to where I want to be. Then your mind will find a way to get there. Like your mind is so powerful. Nobody understands how powerful their mind is. I don't even understand how powerful my mind is. The mind is so powerful. But what I do understand is that my mind has energy. And if I place that energy into bettering myself and towards literally doing every single possible action I can to make it unreasonable that I would fail, to say, okay, here's a good exercise for you. What actions would you have to take to make it almost impossible, or to make it impossible that you don't achieve your goals, right? Do you have to wake up early? Do you have to stop doing some stupid stuff? Because some of y'all do some stupid stuff. You got to cut it out, right? So what actions would you have to take to make it unreasonable for you to not achieve your goals, right? So think about it like that. It's like, what actions would I have to take for me not achieving my goals to be impossible? So to make it guarantee that I achieve my goals, what actions would I have to take, right? So that's the extreme. And think about that, and then work that into a more realistic situation in your life, because obviously you have things you have to do. You have a job, you might have a family, but then just keep working backwards, you know? So this could be a lower high, and we could come down and test this right here. If you're not familiar with lower high, so trends, downtrend, lower low, lower high. So definitely a downtrend right here. I mean, anybody can see that. We're moving down heavily. So that could be a lower high. Grab this liquidity, move down, test this. That actually could be what's playing out if we don't get a bounce right here. So I'm still going to watch this. I'll hop in and answer some questions real quick. So if y'all want to shoot me some questions on anything, literally, like I do not mind any kind of questions. The vision becomes reality. Yes, it does. Nice little bounce. Quick $1,000. I love it, man. Bikini. My man Bikini is always killing. $1,250. That's beautiful. Off that bounce. Yeah, we called it. And that's how you want to be. You want to be in and out, scalp. Right? Well, that's how I like to be. What would be your move for financial freedom if you never started trading? That's a great question. If I never started trading, well, I had a bunch of other side hustles before, and none of them really worked. I did drop shipping. I didn't make a dime off. I probably lost like money off drop shipping. I didn't make a single sale with drop shipping, and I was actually like trying for a while. But I think you need a good amount of capital to start drop shipping. I think it works, but I'd recommend like 10 to 20 grand minimum, just because you want to have a good supplier. Because if you're just buying stuff off Alibaba, it's going to take a really long time to get there. And even if you do start making sales, it's going to be hard to fulfill your product. So you want to make your customers happy, because no business works if your customers aren't happy. Like that's how business works. If your customers are happy, they'll tell more people, and your business will grow. But if I didn't start trading, I probably would have, I don't know, man. I'd probably try to get more into coding, try to start up some sort of small little software product. Because I always do like computers, but that'd probably be it. I'd probably try to either get into coding, or I would try to agency maybe, potentially. Like a few years ago, it's a little bit saturated, but I think you can still make good money with an agency, like some sort of marketing agency kind of thing. There'll always be businesses that need services, so potentially an agency or some sort of coding product, or doing some freelance coding. It's also a good way to make money online too. If you just want some extra cash, do freelance work on Fiverr for people, find a high value skill. Programmers Unite, I love it. What are the notes on your chart? Everything on my chart is explained entirely in the premium courses, so yes, I do. And I believe you are referring to this. So this is the range of this. This is the range from here to wherever we closed. So 10 points, 45, from where we opened. But yeah, the course will help you a ton. Highly recommend the course. Just got back on intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is so fucking great, man. I do it most days. Some days I'll kind of cave in and have a little bit too big of a breakfast, but I always like doing the fasting because my mind is just so much clearer. And then when you do eat calories, you can have a lot more calories. But that's important stuff. I'm telling y'all, like so much of this is your brain. Because I used to have my brain used to be very foggy because I used to be on social media a lot more. I'm not even gonna lie. I used to be like doing TikTok and like just scrolling and doing all this dumb shit. And when I would trade, my mind would be like very foggy. Like it'd have all these like different thoughts coming in, telling me to do this, not do that. Like all these images, like it's just very foggy brain. You don't want that. You need a really clear mind. So that's why it's so important to focus on health. And like another good exercise is like sometimes y'all should just not be trading. Like I learned this the hard way, but when I was at my job, there were sometimes I just should not have been trading. Like if I was opening, right? Because I was working as like a food runner at a restaurant. If I was opening and I was like walking around with a tray, I probably shouldn't be in an options trade. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can be in a swing trade for like a few months, but I probably shouldn't be scalping options when I'm trying to deliver somebody their lobster mac and cheese, you know? Jordan Peterson, yeah, he does have a great lecture about that. I've seen that exact video, actually. I've seen that exact video. Great video. All right, so this could be this lower high setup that we were talking about. If it is, this would be the target. And that's expecting just a huge sell-off for the day. What are y'all trading? Drop in the chat what you're trading. Like futures, options, crypto, what are you looking at? I think we'll have a lot of futures people on here. Futures, yeah. Futures. See, that's a great morning routine. Wake up, drink water, stretch, workout, cold. I gotta drink some more water, man. Y'all reminded me. Stay on my routine. Forex, yes. Options and futures. Forex, futures. Futures. A lot of futures. Just started, not sure what to learn first. Let's talk about that real quick. So, pros and cons. Futures, I honestly think in this day and age you can start futures with less capital because you can get a funded account, right? And futures are just a more simplistic way in terms of how the market moves than options. Options are still good, but with options you have implied volatility and you have the Greek, so there'll be other factors that come into play that price your contract other than the price of the underlying asset. With futures, it's literally just tick, so it's very simple. Like this, if I buy this, if I make $5,000 here off this 15-point move, every single day I'll make $5,000 off a 15-point move or lose $5,000. That's just how it works. The calculation stays the same every single time because it's priced based on the underlying asset, which in this case is S&P 500. And the futures contract, there are a few mathematical things that go into how that's priced, but it's not. There's no variables, right? With options, sometimes the Greeks will be different, the implied volatilities will be different, so it'll be a little more complex. So I would actually recommend if you're starting out to understand futures, and I'm not just saying like go buy a funded account tomorrow, but understand futures because I think it's a more simple way. I think it's just a little simpler. So that's my 2 cents on that. This is from experience. I'm almost 40 years old. This is the lesson I've learned. You can never succeed doing something you shouldn't be doing, even if it was a good thing. Because oh yeah, no, I completely agree. If you're doing something that's not for you or whatever reason, it's not helpful, you don't want to be doing it, like just for whatever reason you don't respect yourself for doing it, you will never enjoy it. Like you just won't. So do something you love. Find something you love, and that you're confident about. We did get that bounce, right? So not really a lower high setup. Just more of a bounce. So answer one more question, then I'm going to cut the YouTube video, but I'll still be on the stream for a little bit. Meditation is very helpful for trading. Yes. Hell yeah. Do you swing trade options trade? Do you swing trade the option signals? Sometimes I swing trade the options signals, but I don't really trade options that much. So options is for the options analyst. But if they say like swing trade, it can definitely be a swing trade. And the most recent one was a swing trade actually. It's Starbucks. Yeah, meditation is great. Your mind is so important. Futures. I'm cutting the YouTube video right here. Great session. Peace out, YouTube.